Hello YouTube, this is Cheeky J, and today I'd like to talk to you about my Aquaman collection. For those that don't know, Aquaman is one of the coolest superheroes in the world, and I stand by that. You know why? Because I started reading Aquaman in the New 52. And what that is basically DC launched, I guess, a campaign to reboot all their ongoing series. Instead of looking at issue 650, we're going to start with issue 1. And this initiative basically revamped the entire Aquaman, I guess, how you would look at him. And I really started with these comics. Now, my Aquaman collection is very small, but I definitely enjoyed the New 52 version of Aquaman. And this is the first volume. It's called The Trench. And there's 52 issues. I collect these in trade papers, so basically there are 8 volumes. So I will just show you very briefly. So we have The Trench, and I can't read backwards, so I'll be looking at the title pages. So this is The Others. This is volume 2. Volume 3, The Throne of Atlantis. Volume 4, Death of a King. Volume 5, Sea of Storms, and I actually really like the shark here. The shark looks really cool. And this one is Volume 6, Maelstrom. Volume 7, Exiled. And then finally, Volume 8, Out of the Darkness. Now, this series is really cool because it changed the way that people looked at Aquaman. Now, Aquaman used to be a freaking joke, because he'd be the one that talks to fish, and he's basically useless in the superfans unless they're underwater. And even then, people just didn't take him seriously because Aquaman was just your literal, he can swim, I guess, and he can talk to fish, but there was nothing really, I guess, gritty about him, and people just wrote him off. Now, coming into, I guess, a more in the late 90s and early 2000s, Aquaman did get a revamp in the Bruce Timm animated series. He showed up, I believe, in the Superman animated series, and he also was a recurring guest in the Justice League. And that Aquaman was badass. He had a hook for a hand, and he was always brooding, and he didn't wear his orange suit, but he was super cool. He had a beard, super cool. But the Aquaman that I wanted to read about was this New 52 one, which I also have a figure. This is from the DC Collectibles New 52 line. I thought, fresh start. I've never collected any DC toys before. This is where I would go. And I really enjoyed this figure. This figure looks really, really good. I think a lot of the older figures, they always had some sort of like weird sculpt in the face, but I think his face is really well done, and he looks like a very handsome white man. Yes, that is definitely it. I think technology has gotten much better and people's skills have gotten better, so man, this looks amazing. Look at how the orange reflects light. It's a metallic orange, and he has the scales, and it matches very well with the green. Totally cool. And of course, with the reboot of the comic books, there also came DC's attempt at making a shared universe in the movie. So I also bought the Jason Momoa Aquaman movie. And as you can tell, I also really like his costume. His costume looks freaking amazing. And I actually really enjoyed the movie as well. So I went into the theaters to watch this, and I just recently purchased this Blu-ray. Now you ask, Cheeky J, why do you buy comic books and why do you buy movies when you could actually read comic books online with online subscriptions? There's a digital copy, and for movies you can watch this on Netflix, you can watch it on streaming services. Why bother buying the physical version? Well, okay, so first off, with comic books, I actually enjoy holding it in my hands and being able to read it and bookmark it. I know that reading on a screen is much more convenient. You could have access to everything, but you know what? I actually enjoy having a book. So that's why I wanted to collect these books, because print media is changing because of all the online availability. But print, it's always in your hands. And yes, I enjoy holding it, flipping it. I enjoy looking at the colors, the pages. It just gives you a very different experience, I find. You know, maybe e-readers and tablets will give you that experience at a later time, but I still enjoy books, and that's why I've collected them. And yes, it's a little bit expensive, but I enjoy physical print media. And then finally with the movie, okay, I have less of a reason other than I love having these on display. Like when you have all these spines together, and even with the books, having them on display just gives me a good feeling of, you know, here's my set of movies, and I can go pick it out and watch it whenever I'd like. And yes, you could say that that is true for streaming sites, but just think about it like this. Licenses do expire, and as movies, you know, turn over in Netflix or the licensing deals, they may or may not become available. And I don't want to be always paying a subscription or different subscriptions for movies that I like to see. I just like to own it. I like to have it. I don't necessarily need the internet. I have a Blu-ray player, a PS4, an Xbox One, whatever it may be, and I just enjoy putting the disc in the player and thinking it's $19.99. Okay, so just please, if you like physical media, please support, buy the official release. But if you don't want to have things that take up space, don't do it. Just read it online. And for those that are toy collectors, you will most definitely understand having a toy is just a completely different experience, because it's like having this cup here. You know, I can enjoy drinking from this cup. And then some people like to collect cups. They like to put them on display as a representation of, oh, I've been to a certain place, you know, oh, I've been to Las Vegas, I've been to Hong Kong or wherever, and they have it on display. It means something to them. And having this figure, it just means that I admire Aquaman. I think he's a very badass character. Not only is he a king, he is also torn between being a human, an Atlantean, and he has to kind of balance those two worlds. And not that I can relate to it, but I think it's actually a really compelling story. It's like watching Hamlet, right? You see him go through phases where he's just trying to figure out who he is and what he wants to do. No, Hamlet is a revenge story, but that being said, I think Aquaman is a very, very cool character. Now that, you know, DC has given him proper treatment and respectful treatment, that I think I enjoy the most. So for those that like Aquaman, please let me know in the comments below who your favorite version of Aquaman is. And also, if you enjoy the comic books or different storylines, let me know which storyline you like. I'd like to go check it out. I haven't read everything about Aquaman. I've only read this set of comics. And of course, I like Aquaman in teams. I like him in the Justice League. I like seeing him, you know, fight great, grand villains. But then also he has a lot of angst and, you know, his relationship with his father, his mother. These are all things that are super interesting. So for those that don't know Aquaman, please go check it out. I think one of the easiest ways is to literally watch this movie. You get a very good sense of who Aquaman is. And also Jason Momoa is pretty badass. Not only does he come off as, you know, a big, strong man, but he's also funny. He's a dude. He's a bro. So I think of this as Aquabro. I think of this as Aquaman. But I enjoy them both very much. And for those that like Aquaman, I know exactly why, and I'd like to hear more from you. So thank you very much. This is a Cheeky J signing off.